South Africans need to brace themselves, especially those in the economic hub of Johannesburg in Gauteng, for a looming water shutdown that could last at least 6 months. Kgomotso, I bring you into the conversation now, and I don't want to talk about the solution right now, because that's where we're headed. So you're coming in from a different perspective, though, and perhaps we can see where you are in terms of the water supply and a breakdown thereof. Where are your views?
So, no doubt there's a crisis, right? And as the professor and the doctor pointed out, the issue with Gauteng in particular does not necessarily relate to scarcity of water. The issue relates to the infrastructure in delivering the water. But I just want to highlight a few more things. Whenever we talk about water, we always tend to think about, our taps at home, which is very important. But you need to understand that you cannot mine without water. You cannot produce electricity without water. You cannot run a manufacturing operation without water. So the water crisis does not just affect you at home and your ability to show up at work nicely showered. It also eventually affects your ability to show up at work in the first place, because work might not exist. We've implemented about 1 million kilometers of pipeline across the continent, across Africa. So the distance from Earth to the moon is about 350,000 kilometers. So we've done about 2.5 times the distance to the moon in pipeline. So to do that, you need a technology that is fit for purpose for African conditions. So we are doing a project now for Old Mutual Property Management at the zone in Rosebank. What we are doing is we are treating 23% of the water that they withdraw from the system.
Dr. Turton, we come to you now, and obviously we get a response from Professor about this solution that's on the table. It's nothing new, but it is being implemented and it is working currently.
Yes. So firstly, I'd like to commend Kgomotso for his vision and his leadership, because what he's doing is really transitioning to what I call a dual stream reticulation economy, where water of different quality and different price is available for different purposes. So at that point in time, I was talking with Bidvest and advising Bidvest to get into that space, and it looks like Kgomotso has beaten them to it, and that's all strength to his arm.
Kgomotso, obviously, as we've heard, I mean, this is the solution. This is what we're looking for. But the private sector, again, stepping up to do the job of government? Is that one way we could look at it?
No.
Or is this their responsibility?
Okay,
Government's private sector's responsibility.
I'm a business person, so I wake up in the morning and I solve problems. So what I'm saying is this: water is non-renewable, right? So the responsible thing for business to do anyway is to recycle water. It's like recycling plastic and paper. You have to do it anyway, so it's a good thing to do. Right, so that's the first thing.
And your hand's being forced now, because when you see a crisis, you have to do this.
You have to act.
Are we talking private sector?
Private sector, yes. So I'm saying I agree that there are big problems that need between 1 and 3 trillion rand, as the good professor is saying, to fix. If I think of 3 trillion, I'm going to stay in bed the whole day and cry, right? Yeah. But practically, what do we have to do? We have to recycle water, just as a basic principle. Now, if you look at the investment side of that equation, you get a 16 times money back as a business from your investment. Just by the way, my plant, when we bought the land where we've built our factory, we were told that there would be sufficient water. We need about 180 cubes of water to run our manufacturing process. It wasn't there. So we had to dig a borehole, and we had to treat our own water and recycle it on site as a business. And that has made us much more sustainable. Our bill has reduced by about 75%, our water bill. Now, remember, you pay for the water that you withdraw, but you also pay for the sewage that you use. Yeah. Now, when you cut on your withdrawal, you also cut on your sewage. So you save on those 2 legs as a business. So the investment case is very, very strong. So that's the first point. And then the second point relates to the water that you consume as a business. If we look at the numbers that we see, there are 41% leaks in the system right, of which about 33% is physical leaks. It's not just one way, by the way. It's the water that's coming in, and again, it's the water that's going out. So what it means, for example, if you look at all retail shopping malls treating their grey water, which their total withdrawal is about 10 million cubes a year, it means you actually have to pump 16 million for them to consume 10 million and then flush it down the toilet.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the net effect of recycling on site is that you save for your site, but you also save on whatever would have been lost in pumping the water to you. And then what
So
it
the general
does...
population is
Right.
benefiting from this as well. Very quickly, we've only got 5 minutes. I just want to get a closure.
So very quickly, when business does that, the balance of the infrastructure can be used to support the indigent. And suddenly the number is no longer 3 trillion. Maybe it's less than 1 trillion that government now has to focus on indigents.
If
because business
can
would
afford
have made
this.
it... No,
If business can afford it.
we'll make our returns. Yes.
Absolutely, but businesses are struggling at the moment. So I agree with you. Business need to do this. Wrapping it all up, Kgomotso, good luck. Thank you. Thanks for sharing your idea with us. And that certainly is something that we're hearing business have to do. It's not even a thing you should be thinking of. It's a thing that you either have done or need to do. Kgomotso Lekola, the founder and group managing director of BT Industrial, as you know, Professor Anya du Plessis, an associate prof, water management expert at UNISA, and a friend of the show as well, Dr. Anthony Turton, a water expert from the University of the Free State Centre for Environmental Management, discussing the future of water in South Africa, the situation, but solutions more importantly.